whole premise of this podcast is to kind of what Brent said so eloquently at the really beginning of this, what Lisa is doing right now is to be that light, right?
Yeah,
Be that
absolutely.
just God gave us a light to let him shine through us with through light and hope to goodness that somebody sees us today and we are that light for them. So I'm just so incredibly grateful for this platform, dude. It just seems it never gets old over and over again. So almost started crying right there, but I'm going to hold it back.
And I'm super proud of you. You haven't even cussed once on this episode, so good job.
This God's in the room today, brother. All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be while you're watching this. If this is your first time here, I am Blair Armstrong of Team Armstrong Coldwell Banker, located in the beautiful, beautiful Coachella Valley. If you don't know where the Coachella Valley is, think of Palm Springs, Palm Desert, La Quinta, Rancho Mirage, wherever you visit the desert. And if you don't know where that is, as we always say, find a map and figure it out. But this is going to be the best podcast that you've never seen before. If this is your first time here, we are old guys, still rock, but a lot to hammer today. But let me start with some introductions. As I said, my name is Blair Armstrong. On this screen to my left, possibly your right, however this ends up, is my good friend and co-host of the show, but he's been my good friend for almost 30 years now. I can't believe how fast time has gone by. It's crazy. I think we were both 4 years old when we first met. And we do that. And then, so Brent, I'm going to get to you a little bit, but we also have a guest today, Lisa Ford. How are you?
Fabulous. Thanks. And thanks for inviting me this morning. Super excited about this.
Good.
Yeah.
We're excited to have you. So all of us people that live here in the Coachella Valley know this lady. She is freaking everywhere, man. I think we went to a hockey game. I woke up this morning. She was at the hockey game. I didn't know it. She was over at Coachella Valley Firebirds, Junior Firebirds.
Played
my
the
good
golf
friend
tournament.
Matt Lathrop.
Yes.
His wife is my transaction coordinator.
Awesome.
I think you know Mary Lockram from the Big 106.
I do.
So,
yeah.
Friends of us. I mean, the list goes on. So we're going to get into you real quick. But I also want to say, Brent, how are you, buddy? Where are you today? I know you're a little bit remote. We're not in the you're not in the war room today.
Yep. We are at our coast house. We are taking a little siesta. My wife needed a break, and so I'm working from here. And the family is just chilling out. They're watching Disney Plus movies today.
What is the episode that is on as we speak right now? Are we watching Princess?
I don't know, buddy. I've been in the remote war room for the last 3-4 hours. So
yeah.
Oh no.
Back-to-back meetings. And
a lot of you guys, again, the first time here, and especially Lisa Ford, she's become a new follower, new subscriber, and we appreciate that. But what a lot of people don't realize about Brent Wright is the guy's a grinder, man. He has multiple different businesses, from body shops to detail shops to payroll companies. Him and his wife just opened up a wellness center. Multiple property management owner through there. His real big quest right now, and that's slowly building. Again, all of these have been over 30 plus years. So these businesses that he hasn't happened overnight. But one of the big things he's really picked up on the last year, maybe a little bit longer, is personal coaching and business coaching. So I know you reached out to him about this, and then do some different things. Some other people have reached out to us in the past. If you're watching this, if you or someone you know may be struggling in business, may be stuck, Brent is a great resource. If you don't know who this guy is, we are at episode 94 today. There are 93 episodes. You can find out if this is a good fit for you or not. And I jokingly say this, and so somebody called me like, why would you say something like that to him? Because I said it last week. But if you don't like him, I'm pretty good too. So
So I do want to share a win. So you're right. I have been building momentum on this, and just to qualify or quantify my purpose or what I'm trying to accomplish with business coaching and personal coaching is I've tried to figure out what lane I want to land in, which is really where the magic happens for me. Is the lane I want to land in, and I've decided on it, is I want to still do this face-to-face, one-on-one, action-oriented coaching. I don't want to do what a lot of people do and do like what we experience in the Arate, right? And so Blair and I have been part of the Arate syndicate, Blair on and off. Myself, I've been there for 6 years. But it's not one-to-one coaching. It's the shotgun approach to coaching where everybody gets on and you all listen to the same information, you take notes, and then you go interact individually or in group settings, but not with the mentors or the coaches. Although that works, I'm not a big fan of it. And so mine is one-to-one action oriented. And a big win this week was I had a client last night on the way here. I took a meeting with him and his CPA, and I was able to save him along with his CPA and some strategic opportunities, saved him $32,500 in a less than 30-minute call with making some adjustments to his plan, his finances, and his tax deferrals and things like that. So although I am not a tax strategist, a CPA, or a tax planner, being in business for a long time, I can ask the questions and I can help to move the needle along with the rest of the team that is surrounding this gentleman. So less than 30 minutes, $30,000 plus savings. That was a huge win. And I believe that kind of speaks to the results that I'm trying to accomplish for my clients.
Can I ask you, you're actually in the Portland area, correct?
Eugene.
Okay. Yeah. In Oregon. I have somebody very near and dear to my heart that lives in the Portland area. So that's why I reached out to you the other day, listening to you on your podcast. I realized, man, this guy could really help this person who's currently struggling, very educated, almost 40, kind of lost his way in life. And, he's come out of school with great credentials, but there was challenges. You go through COVID, there's mental health issues there, you're challenged. And I'm thinking, you all are just right prime for this type of individual. I mean, these young men who I'm thinking of, looking for someone to kind of help them understand their value. So I'll be reaching out to you soon.
I appreciate that. And by the way, I do coach all over the world. So I have had clients on the beach in Europe and taking calls. I have a client in Ohio. I have a client in Texas. I have a client on the Eastern Seaboard. I have all over the country, as well as locally here in Eugene. So I had a client this morning, Gerard, who's been on the show. We moved the needle pretty hard today. We have his action plan for April. We have his action plan going forward. We've strategized and structured the opportunity for him to get to 50 million in the next 5 years. And he started in business last year. So we're not talking little things here. We're talking moving the needle pretty hard. So if you do know somebody who is, Lori is trying to help, Lisa, right? Lisa, not Lita.
Yeah.
I'm trying to put that together.
Yeah.
I keep getting Lita Ford stuck in my head. So I apologize for that. But moving the needle is what I try to do. Action-oriented steps to create success for people. So if they're lost or and ready to find their way and take action, I'd be opportunity for me to help them would be tremendously beneficial for them and for me. So
that really resonated with me listening to you guys on the podcast. So really appreciate the work you're doing. Yeah.
Thank you.
God comes in different forms, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Amen. All right. let's get in. Let's find out. Not Lita, but Lisa Ford.
Lisa, yeah.
Who's
yeah.
Lisa Ford? How did you get to? I mean, let's just start with there. Who's Lisa Ford? How long have you been a part of this valley? There's so many questions that we have. So let's little introduction. I mean, believe it or not, there's going to be people who watch this that don't know you. Yeah. I know it's weird.
No, I know. I understand. I don't know everybody.
When I say shaking hands and kissing babies, this lady should go ahead and give a talk about that, because it's awesome. Your presence is absolutely contagious. Smile is amazing, and it just draws people in. It's like you can meet. And I know I'm giving you a lot of accolades, but it's the honest to God truth. So accept this for a second. Okay. But there's a presence about you that you're one of these rare people that when we walk up and talk to you, I've known you for 40 years.
Yeah, and I know. Like we've just met.
Well, we just met, right? Yeah. And this is awesome. So again, so who's Lisa Ford? You almost got me to say Lita, Brent.
I know, right?
It's stuck in my mind. Tell us a little bit of background for you. How long you've been in the desert, so on and so forth, and the position that we're also going to talk about, really important about Alzheimer's today. So let's just kind of, you got the mic, go.
Okay, thanks. Just to piggyback on what you were saying, I kind of mimic my dad. He never let any grass grow under his feet, so I'm everywhere. You're right. I try to touch every area of the desert that I can. So I've been here since 1981, late 1981. Started at Palm Springs Ford, Lincoln and Mercury. Can you imagine that? And they're still actually over there. Riding service for Palm Springs Ford, Lincoln and Mercury. And at the time, my mom was working for Unique Golf, golf manufacturer out of Cathedral City. And I befriended someone at the dealership who introduced me to my husband, John. And we were married in 1985. I started at Eisenhower Medical Center in 82. So my journey in the healthcare space has been significant here in the desert. Yeah.
So many changes though, right?
So many changes.
I moved here in 99 originally, and I just moved back in 2010. So I moved in 99, moved away, and then moved back in 2010. There were a lot of changes then, and then there was a lot of changes now in the last 15 years. So I can't imagine.
There was no mall. There was nothing.
Right?
Yeah, there was like nothing here. My husband actually grew up here, so to hear his stories is just amazing. To listen to the stories of all the celebrities that were in town and actually engaged with our community, and how there literally was nothing. You just played in the dirt. You just played in the in the rocks everywhere. So it's changed even since 1982.
So how much of a difference? Since we're talking about, again, the people that are watching, our local people that are watching here. Eisenhower is the major hospital here in the valley, basically a nonprofit in so many ways. They really rely a lot on donations from different spots.
Right.
And just go back to that. But how much has that hospital grown since 1980?
It's incredible.
Different wings and stuff, right?
Right. It was Eisenhower Memorial Hospital when I started. Became Eisenhower Medical Center when Barbara Sinatra and Betty Ford centers came under our umbrella. And now we know it as Eisenhower Health today.
Yeah.
So there's been so many changes, so many new buildings. I was just up at our club here at Ironwood listening to a presentation from their cardiac team talking about the growth that they anticipate they're planning for just in that space alone. It's mind-boggling. And I think back to the board members, the Margulis, the Saul Kamen, all these board members that were there had this vision. If they were here today, they would just be blown away with what Aubrey Surfling has brought to our desert, right? Under his leadership, all of that transformation happened. So it's just amazing to watch.
Yeah, it's incredible. So Brent, so next time, sooner or later, I'm going to get you, April, and the kids out here to just kind of see the desert. I know you've kind of skated along in LA because that's part of your business out in that area. But it's phenomenal to see this stuff. I've been lucky enough to go to the galas once in a while.
Yeah.
I didn't miss last year's, whatever. The last one I saw was with Keith Urban. And
me too. I was there.
That was awesome.
Unreal.
I mean, obviously you bring in these big name acts, but more money flows in to help build out to the donations. And it was great. I think the really special thing about that event, the Keith Urban, the David Foster was there, obviously Catherine McPhee, not name dropping, but it was just, if you love music, it was awesome.
It was amazing.
The guy that opened the Super Bowl this year,
Yeah.
I can't
The
remember
pianist.
the pianist, right?
What's his name? Yeah.
Whatever.
Amazing.
That guy was there,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But the point of what I really, really loved about this, when you go to those big donor events, yes, you got the high income earners, and they're out there. Let's go ahead and wine them, dine them. They're going to write checks. That's great. What I really loved that changed that year this year that we're talking about is that the hospital invited the staff.
All the staff was there.
So
Right.
that's a big deal.
It was.
That's like, we talk a lot about this on our podcast, but that's culture, right?
Right.
And the better culture that you have, the better that these people will stay, embed themselves, and do some different things. So I don't know if you were a part of that, or you saw that, or you felt that that night as much as I did, but maybe kind of talk about a little bit about that. But again, I really want you to talk about this Alzheimer's thing, because it's a big deal. We're struggling with it.
Yeah,
a lot.
especially in our community. But thank you for the platform to be able to talk about all of that. I do want it's important to talk about my history at Eisenhower. Yeah. That's where I started. That's where a lot of this came together for me. So I just remember back in the day, the galas were really about those benefactors that supported the hospital. And I was lucky enough that I worked in administration, so I was always a part of those big galas, and never did they bring all the staff, as you were just talking about this last, I think, 2 years ago. To see them all surrounding that arena was incredible. To listen to Mike Shannon and Michael Landis talk about the staff the way they did, I was so moved, and I was so honored to have the memory and the experiences that I had at Eisenhower. Even though I've been gone from Eisenhower since 2005, I had 23 long years there, and they were very impactful years. I can think back to those galas way back, and I'm just going to tell you a real funny story. It was back in the days when all the presidents came, and it was the year that they all played in the Bob Hope Chrysler Classic. That's how I know it as, right?
Right.
Now American Express and everything. Yeah. But I can remember, I checked them all in. They were all seated at their table. And of course, I was in the very, very back with my husband. And as you know, I'm Lisa Ford, right? I stood up, and my husband said to me, "Where are you going, Lisa?" And I said, "I just have to go let Bob Hope know how much we appreciate everything he's done for the hospital." He grabbed my arm and said, "Honey, you see how the president's sitting with Mr. Hope?" He goes, "Those are all Secret Service standing around. Good luck with that." So you can't tell me no. Yeah. I just walked up. Secret Service looked at me, and I said, "Lisa Ford," and President Ford was sitting right there.
They're not going to question that last name, right?
So I just went up, and it was just amazing to be able to let Mr. Hope know. I mean, it was just something I will always cherish. Yeah. The work that he and Dolores did to bring awareness and bring eyeballs to that community hospital. I don't know that our community understands how much was the love that was poured into that community hospital, but I'm just so privileged and honored to have had those experiences. And there were many. I mean, I worked from HR. I was the first person you saw when you walked in the doors at Eisenhower. I took your application, and then I went all the way through till what you now know as the 24/7 program. Mm-hmm. I helped launch that with Connie Norton. So I'm super proud of what they're doing today. It's amazing.
It's come a long way.
Yeah.
So Brent, I want to pull you in here because, I hear obviously that last little bit that she talked about was culture. How are you implementing that? I mean, so just a couple minutes on there, or seconds, whatever you got in there. When you hear what a hospital is doing something like that, and you starting to get in this health and wellness field like you and your wife have done over the last 1+ years, what are some of the things that you can share with our followers, how important what Lisa said and what you're doing to kind of help that culture grow?
I'm going to shift gears a little bit. The one thing that stood out to me, what Lisa was talking about, was that she created, even though all these people were seated at a table, she created her own table. She walked up like she owned the table.
Yeah.
And didn't take no for an answer. Yeah. That's the part that stuck out to me. From a personal growth and an individual growth opportunity, I think that's the most important thing, is own the room and don't take no for an answer, and walk up like you own the table. Like, don't you know who I am? I'm Lisa Ford, right? So
Exactly.
Not Lita.
correct. But I mean, we talk about this a lot on the podcast over the last 93 episodes. Is, if somebody won't let you at the table, create your own, and
I
have the
love that.
confidence and the opportunity to just take ownership of every action. And if somebody's reaction isn't exactly what you think it's going to be, that's okay too. But that's what stuck out to me in that whole part of it, is that you've created this persona, this avatar, if you will, and you're not going to let anybody dim your light. That's what I picked up from that. But
Oh,
from your question, Blair, there there's this disparity between traditional health and wellness and what really needs to happen, in my opinion. We're seeing a lot of the ramifications of traditional health and wellness is textbook applied, is based upon very antiquated ways and opportunities to promote healing and health and wellness. And so I think that's the cultural shift that's happening. And that's what we're trying to accomplish is, you know, some things don't work for some people. So, for instance, in the Alzheimer's field, we would tell you to look at diet, look at exercise, look at your inputs so you create different outputs, right? Get in the hyperbaric chamber, do light therapy. Uh, Back in the day, the hospitals used to have a sun deck on the top. And we talked about this with Mary a couple of
Mhm.
times ago. They used to have a sun deck on the top floor of the hospital, on the roof, where they would put people and cover them in linen sheets to help them heal. Where is that happening now? We've talked about this before on another episode, where almost every other country besides the United States considers Alzheimer and dementia type 4 diabetes. And it's not, that's the culture shift in my mind. If you're asking me about culture, that I
Yeah.
feel needs to happen, we need to take a different approach to this instead of just being a reactionary treatment. I think we need to start being a proactive treatment, in my mind.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's some great things. So, I mean, that's really brings up a lot of conversation. Obviously, you are neck deep in this, right? If not all, like
all in.
sometimes buried. I mean, you're all in, but you're in there finding. So, what are some of the, how long have you been a part of the Alzheimer's organization, basically ACV? What does ACV stand for? Obviously, Brent is in this health and wellness field, kind of more of alternative medicine. Are you starting to see a shift in that, or are we kind of staying in the status quo? Because I think that's really a great debate. You coming from the medical side, I mean, you're not a doctor,
Right.
by any
Not
means,
clinical.
right? So the stuff that she's saying, guys and ladies, is like she's not coming out as a doctor and stuff like this. She is just helping this process, getting people to the appropriate places. So are you seeing a shift in like traditional medicine to alternative medicine? I don't know.
So I have two hats in the
Okay.
desert, right? So yes, I am with Alzheimer's Coachella Valley.
Yeah.
Totally separate from the Alzheimer's Association.
Okay.
There's our leadership initially started with the Alzheimer's Association, the big behemoth. It's nationwide. They do a lot of great work.
Okay.
They raise a lot of great money for research dollars. And we've seen the first drugs to market in the last 20 years recently, like in the last 2 years, came out. So we need the big behemoth. We need Alzheimer's Association for all those dollars they put towards research, and they bring these new clinical trials to the public, right? All important. But what we did is we realized we needed more boots on the ground. We needed support and services for the seniors that were aging here, especially in our Coachella Valley,
Absolutely.
right? And so that second hat that I mentioned just a minute ago was my other role is with Desert Doctors, a role that I took on about 13 years ago when a group of independent doctors said to me, "Hey, we want to come together. We're not part of the hospital employee, sector. We're not part of an IPA exclusive, IPA." but we want awareness. We want the public to know about us, that we're still in practice. So they came under this one big umbrella called Desert Doctors. So to answer your question around, am I seeing the shift? Yeah, absolutely. I'm seeing the shift in the sense that I have more and more naturopathic doctors, functional medicine doctors joining Desert Doctors. That's telling me, it's hinting to me that traditional path that Brent was just talking about, it's good, right? There's some really good information there. And that's how we use those tools to identify disease in each individual, right? So we use those tools, but people are living different lives, right? They're looking for different answers. So this new wellness space has blown up, and it really has blown up in the desert. I've seen it in golf professionals. They're taking a more wellness approach to their golf instruction. I mean, it's amazing what's happening in that space. So yeah, I can appreciate what you're saying.
I think you both, and that's just what I really love about this conversation, especially, Brent's coming in with you here. You're around that stuff. And now that you have, it's Brent and I really talk about this instead of being such in a silo type of mindset and being segregated. To hear what you just said is now you've got traditional doctors and naturopathic doctors coming together, sharing ideas, which Brent, I mean, I don't know how many times we've talked about this. This is how business grows. This is how people get better, and when you and me and Brent grew up, keep all your stuff to yourself, keep it secret, don't share it. And then when you get a win, go ahead and talk, but don't tell people how to win. So now a traditional doctor said, okay, this really worked for us. And a naturopath doctor, this is just in my mind, so you correct me, both of you correct me if I'm wrong, are having these, I understand that's what worked by this, but we took this and that got them to point A, and now we did a little bit this and this got them to point B. So working together to get this path along, because you see it a lot. I see it a lot because we're in this valley. Alzheimer's, Brent, you probably have seen it a lot everyone's seen Alzheimer's, right? It sucks.
Yeah, and everyone usually has a story, right? It's affected them.
Right.
You look at your table, right? You know that about a third of them have had some sort of impact in their family. So their journey on for this particular disease is a very long path. So it's a struggle, but I think it's manageable given some of the resources we now have available to us. We talked about diet, exercise, keeping the mind functioning, doing the daily crossword puzzles. All of that's important. So that when we talk about a traditional medicine, naturopathic, functional medicine, right? All components of this new wellness approach. We really want to keep people well. We don't want to treat people when they're sick. We want to keep them from getting sick, right? That's the whole goal here with the wellness mindset, in my mind. Is that?
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. And it too, as I want to interject it, I think that's what, and then you both have said this in different words. I'm such a great moderator. So good.
Yes, you are.
Yeah, sure. Whatever. Right. I'm going to be really, really good at this. Yeah, really good.
Does your shoulder hurt from?
Yes.
Dude, I'm so tired of carrying everybody lately. It's just tough. Anyway, but Brent said it. You have these guys now that are learning more. Obviously, families are reading more about Alzheimer's, doing different things. And yes, traditional medicine's good. Yes, a naturopath is good. But knowing that they can come to a resource like you have, like Brent has, and say, these are the symptoms I'm having, and you guys both have resources. Well, maybe you should go try this and see how that feels. Brent has the same thing. So how do people find you? Why are they looking? How do you get involved in their lives to point them into the right direction? Because internet will give you 1,000 different ways of how to treat Alzheimer's, right? And we can kind of pretend that we're medical doctors through Google, but what are you encouraging people to do that are like, okay, my friend, my husband, my wife, cousin, whatever it is going to be is, I feel like they're having Alzheimer's because I read it on Google. What do you encourage them to do?
I think may I jump in here?
Yeah,
Brent,
rock and roll.
one of the biggest things I think is, going to the Alzheimer's Association website. They have a lot of statistics out there. They have really great resources. But then to actually have those face-to-face conversations and to feel love and feel the support that most of the caregivers are looking for when they're walking this journey with the diagnosed, that's what we like to refer to them as, the diagnosed, right? And oftentimes they're not even diagnosed. There's a symptom and the loved one says, what's going on here? The first sign is not just that I've lost my keys, but all of a sudden they've forgotten that they had lunch with their daughter yesterday, right? And so family members are looking at them going, what do we do? Yes, they can go to a website and find all these great resources, but what Alzheimer's Coachella Valley does is we're like a home away from home. We provide a very safe place for folks to come to. We launched a screening center. Let me just back up a minute. We launched 7 years ago. We opened our doors 7 years ago with 8 couples, 16 people. Fast forward to today, and we were in 800 square feet. Fast forward to today, we're in nearly 8,000 square feet and have over 500 individuals coming per month to our programs. So the need is there. People are searching for answers. They're coming through our doors first because they're curious, and they are hearing about us through their providers. A lot of the providers you'll meet now at one of the biggest IPAs we have in the desert, which it stands for Independent Physician Association, right? Okay. And that's Desert Oasis Healthcare. They have the most lives in that IPA, patient lives. Mm-hmm. And so through those relationships that we have built with those providers, they're now handing our brochures to the patients and basically telling them, you may want to call Alzheimer's Coachella Valley just to understand the programs, the resources that they have, they offer over there. It could be anything from just socializing, getting them into social, activities, removing them from isolation, right? So they come for programs. It could be the doctor says, look, I want you to go over there and I want you to take advantage of their free screening center. We have 2 professional staff members who are completely volunteer based, who came out of the geriatric space. One retired from Desert Oasis Healthcare. The other one was on the East Coast, a nurse practitioner and a social worker. Together, they do an assessment, not only on the potential diagnosed, but they also work with the families. So they'll talk to the family about the journey, the history, the medication use, the symptoms that they've been experiencing with their loved one. So it's a very nice, comfortable setting. And those individuals oftentimes through that screening realize, because they're in this big 8,000 square foot facility, they're realizing, I'm hearing all this singing going on in the other room. What is that? And they want to now come back for programs. Okay. So that's how they're that's through awesome. Their physician, through podcasts like this. Yeah. Thank you for having us on.
Dude, we love this. Yeah. So Brent, going back to your wellness center, have you had any experience with this? Obviously, with multiple conversations with Caitlin and Edna that have been in this world for a long time of this alternative with hyperbaric cheramics, far infrared treatments, methane blue. I'm not saying that those are the cures of Alzheimer's, but have you had any patients coming in there? What type of resources are you showing your clients if they're coming up with these situations to try to help alleviate as much as possible the journey through Alzheimer's?
So let's maybe clarify a couple of things. So Alzheimer's, dementia, whatever you want to call it, or name it, it's really about cognitive decline. Correct, Lisa?
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
Cognitive decline comes in many, many ways. So we see it in some of our clients that are coming in. They're getting results from all different. Again, we talked about everybody gets a different result from a different situation. What might help one might not help another. So we have clients coming in and using our ergometer. It's hand motion, and and instead of rowing. So we have water-based rowers as well. But we have one gentleman who comes in. He's in his late 80s or early 90s, and he's just doing simple exercise with his arms, and then gets in the sauna. He puts his legs in the cold plunge. He's getting his body moving. He's interacting with the staff, which is getting his mind moving, and he's staying engaged with society. Again, you talked about isolation, Lisa. That's the issue. It's cognitive decline comes from the things that we've done in society to separate, silo, and segregate, and as well as diet, exercise, interactions, physical debilitation. More aptly put, the things that we have when we're young and we get out of our food and we get out of our interactions with nature, we typically tend to remove those items as we get older. And therefore, we see cognitive decline in all shapes and facets. What I heard Lisa say is not only are we here to support the patient, but we're here to support the family or the caregiver.
Keep talking,
more
man.
like
I
an
think we might have lost you
Al-Anon
for a
type
little
of a
bit.
scenario, if I could, if that's accurate. You guys are doing a holistic approach to the support of the situation. I would tell you that if you have somebody in your life that is showing signs of cognitive decline, the first thing I would recommend is getting a full panel blood test, which you can't get at a traditional doctor. You need to go to a functional medical specialist. I love that term because that doesn't say, it doesn't give you the impression that they're just practicing, right? We all drive past the doctor's office and it says their name in practice. Functional medical folks are actually trying to create action and opportunities for healing and wellness. And so that's kind of my shtick on it. But get a full blood panel. We see sometimes in our clients, they get a full blood panel and they're missing vitamin D, or they're missing B12, or they're missing boron. I started taking boron about 5 or 6 months ago, and just the amount of clarity that I've received, it's probably been 10 to 12% differential by taking boron 3 times a week. I was missing that in my blood panel.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of things that go to support, right?
Yeah, I was going to say, in addition to the blood panels that you're mentioning, those genetic tests out there too, are really invaluable to some of the folks looking for answers. Maybe they themselves are experiencing some memory lapse, and their loved one had Alzheimer's, and they just simply want to know. So the blood test is a great way to start. A genetic test is another way. Of course, there's all the imaging that comes along with that. I just want to take a minute and just recognize a gentleman I met recently. His name is Hal. He was a United Air Force fighter pilot. And after retirement, he was looking for some new business adventure, landed in the Scottsdale area over in Arizona, and decided, because he had a heart for, this mission, he had a loved one with some memory issues. He opened up some memory care facilities. And initially it was a business venture. He thought, well, I could, make some money. But he quickly realized, after acquiring his first center, he didn't like what he saw. He saw a lot of old people sitting in front of a TV, almost out of it, completely out of it. And he thought, this is not the way people are supposed to live the end of their life. And so through a lot of research and digging, he found some nutritionists. He found some functional medicine doctors who brought the red light therapy, who helped him develop ketogenic diets. Some of the clients today, I understand, will knock at his door and say, hey, I want mom and dad to, come to your facility. And he presents the menus and they say, oh, no, they like their sugar. And he says, sorry, then go down the street because this isn't the facility for you. It's like he's really implemented something that is completely changing the outcomes for these individuals. He's seeing them more engaged in our community and their surroundings. So functional medicine, all of these diet, exercise are so important. You're so right.
Such a big deal. And I love that you guys are going kind of back and forth on this and just, I mean, really sharing the same common thread is really being a resource. Obviously you're a resource here. Brent's a resource here, but what I, Brent always says, man, you're so futuristic sometimes. Just like put it on paper and then just do whatever. I'm a futuristic person. So now I have this, okay, I have Lisa Ford with me, that we've known for a couple weeks now, right? And then I have Brent Wright of that I've known for 30 years. But with technology now is, okay, if you guys could be anywhere in the world, right? Through video conferencing, through phone calls and doing different things and really helping out. One episode you haven't seen, we had a while back with Caitlin and Edna. They're located in Vancouver, Washington. I referred them a client that had some other skin issue. I helped her out tremendously when the doctors couldn't. Not saying that doctors are bad, but I'm just saying is like she was trying to find a natural, healthy way to do something. And so Caitlin did this resource. So you asked me why we do this podcast. And today is one of those reasons why we do this podcast is because we feel that we have a platform and we have a resource to help people turn to when it's a scary situation like Alzheimer's and my parents are changing or my husband's changing or my wife is changing. I don't know where to turn to. I'm too scared to go in the hospital. So here it is. We hope that this episode reaches at least 1, 2, or 3 people and then that spreads like wildfire, right? But to call a Lisa Ford or to call a Brent Wright and let's get you, obviously these guys, you have so many answers that you can answer. Brent has only so many answers that he can answer, but say, call me, let us help you find that person if we're not the person to help you.
Yeah.
Right? And you being an association with a basically worldwide type of organization, or is it just a
national
type of thing? What a great way is like, okay, I know who Lisa Ford is because I watched her on this podcast or I've seen her on a video or I've seen her out in the thing to it. I feel comfortable approaching. Same thing with Brent. So I love this. And that was one of the main reasons I wanted you on here because I've seen Alzheimer's effect. Obviously, we're in this world.
Yeah.
People always say that Palm Desert is like, this is where you come to go see Jesus,
waiting
right?
room. Yeah.
Right? There's a lot more to Palm Desert.
There is.
There are a lot of people, and Brent said it too, the reason why people come here. We have a lot of sunshine.
We do. And vitamin D, so important.
You do not have to go on top of a building with linen blankets. You can just walk on the golf course and get some sunshine. Yeah. So you have a big event coming up. We're going to be a part of that. And I'm very excited. I feel that God has given us this opportunity to bring you in this. So let's talk to us about the event that you have coming up. How do we contribute to that? What should people look for?
Thanks. It's actually next week, next Thursday. I can't believe it's already here. Wow. Next Thursday, March 27th. We're back at the Desert Willows Golf Resort, which is a beautiful setting for this type of event. It's indoor, outdoor. We have a nice silent auction, and I'm super excited this year. I have Chrissy, Blair's wife, with me. She and her team will be providing some of the fashions during our cocktail hour. It's going to be a beautiful evening. I keep watching the weather. I'm like, thank God it wasn't last week when the tennis was here. Yeah, it's going to be beautiful. So we have a cocktail hour, silent auction. And of course, Chrissy has so graciously given so much of herself in the store. She'll be represented in our silent auction. Then we roll into the program. And this year I'm really honored. We get to really uplift and spotlight a physician that's been in our desert for a very long time. He's a neurologist by trade, but I tell you, he's just feels like one of your best friends when you finally get to meet him. So Dr. Septi, who's part of the Desert Oasis Healthcare IPA, and Desert Oasis Healthcare is our presenting sponsor this year. We get to honor the work that he's been doing for so long in the desert, over 25 years. I personally have been working with him in my role at the Imaging Center. When I left Eisenhower in 2005, I went to Dr. John Feller over at Halo Diagnostics. So I was in the imaging space for about 18 years. So that's really where I learned a lot about the tau and the plaque buildup in the brain and why it was important to give the appropriate diagnosis, right? So we know dementia is the umbrella.
Right.
Alzheimer's is the biggest part of that umbrella, which, you can Lewy body disease, Bruce Willis, look at Gene Hackman last week, all these different dementia diseases are so important. But so we see them all at Alzheimer's Coachella Valley, and Dr. Septi has been treating all of them. And between he and Dr. Chris Hancock, also an honoree, who's the imaging space, helped me really understand the value of why we want to know which dementia do you truly have. Are you Alzheimer's? Are you Lewy body? Are you frontal temporal lobe? Because there are some drugs on the market that to help address some of those individual things. So we get to take an evening to really spotlight the work that Dr. Septi has been doing over the last 25 years. And his patients just love him. If you read the editorial this last 2 months, Desert Health News, Lauren Del Sardo. I don't know. Do you know Lauren?
Yep.
And Tommy? Yep. Yeah, they're great peeps. Lauren did a beautiful editorial about his path to this final step in his life. His team has just been amazing. So we have a great evening, lots of live auction items, trips to Spain and Italy, and it's just amazing. And Rocky's Pawn Shop is part of it this year. Yeah, Rocky and Debbie are wonderful people.
Big contributors to the community.
Big contributors. They've given us some beautiful pieces of jewelry. You'll have an opportunity to bid on those. So it's going to be a nice night.
Is there an opportunity if you're living here in the desert that you can attend? Is this an invite only? Can someone pay a fee to be a part of this? How does that work?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. We've completed our sponsorships but next year we'd love to connect with you. So if you're interested in next year, we're already starting to think about and plan for next year. But there are tickets still available. So if you're interested in attending, supporting the mission and supporting Dr. Septi and just checking out ACV, you can go to the website at cvalzheimers.org and you can purchase your tickets there, or you can simply call Priscilla. I don't know what we would do without Priscilla at ACV. She was employee number 1 and she's just amazing. We have 3 employees. Call Priscilla at 760-776-3100 and you can purchase tickets. Tickets are still available. So and obviously we're live right now, but we're going to go ahead and edit this. And so I'm going to put that PDF of all that contact information so people can stop and really be a part of this and go a part of that. So thank you.
What a great day, man. I'm so glad that you're here to do this stuff. So Brent, any final words for you, bud?
I'm just grateful that you came on. I love the connection, the mind connection with Lita and Lisa, right? So that's super cool. And I just appreciate the fact that you are out there making a damn difference. I mean, that's what we talk about on this podcast is go make a damn difference. And you and a number of other guests in the last few weeks are out there making a damn difference. I'm grateful to have you on, and the connection between alternative medicine and regular medicine and people working together to make sure that each person gets exactly what they need, really, because everything, we talked about this throughout, every person's different and every need is different. And the fact that you are open to the opportunity that there might be alternatives, I guess, and be in a functional medicine space. And so thank you for the promotion of that, the marketing of that, the helping of society, and the connection to not being siloed. I believe, although you guys are in the desert, I believe this can help anybody. So if anybody's listening nationwide, reach out. There's an Alzheimer Dementia Foundation. Reach out to a functional medical specialist, any of those things. Just really, and if you're a provider, reach out to get help for you as well, because that's really where the magic happens. Is these people might not remember you or remember what you're doing for them every day, but you might need help as well. So just reach out.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you.
I always say lead with your heart and you'll find the answers. So
yeah. No, it's just so final words for you.
Thanks. This has been really quite fun. So thanks for having me on.
You know, what Brent and I always say, once you come on, you have to come back.
I'll absolutely come back.
It's like it's a prerequisite. So now, like you have to be a returning guest, and we'll go check you out once in a while. But I really, now you're a part of the OGSR family stuff, and get out there. So. Yeah, we're going to get your information out there. I think I just think it's super important. So what Brent said, I'm going to go reiterate that is just say, listen, let us be the resource for you and let us at least point you the direction. Obviously, we have this amazing woman next to us of Lisa Ford. We have Brent Wright. Brent Wright has, and even though that he's in Eugene, Oregon, he has a lot of resources. I have a lot of resources. The whole premise of this podcast is to kind of, what Brent said so eloquently at the very beginning of this, what Lisa is doing right now is to be that light, right?
Yeah.
To be that.
Absolutely.
Just God gave us a light to let him shine through us through light, and hope to goodness that someone sees us today and we are that light for them. So I'm just so incredibly grateful for this platform, dude. It just seems it never gets old over and over again. So almost started crying right there, but I'm going to hold it back.
And I'm super proud of you. You haven't even cussed once on this episode. No, so good job.
God's in the room today, brother. I got to hold back today. I was good. I pumped the brakes a couple times, but I'm all right. So guys, we're going to get the heck out of here. We're going to go change some lives today. If you need anything, this information, I'm going to put her information, Brent's information, my information. Feel free to reach out to us. Let us know how this episode possibly or potentially changed your lives or your family's lives today, because I think there's a lot of golden nuggets that can make that work. But until we see each other next week, stay safe, but most of all, God bless.